To be completely honest, there's nothing stopping you becoming a full-time producer with an old laptop and some wired headphones. Is Gunna actually gonna care whether you made this crazy beat with stock plugins on an old Toshiba laptop in a public library? No. We all understand that it's the hard work making great music and putting in those hours that's actually gonna get you towards your music goals. With that being said, once we started to make money with our music, as will a lot of you if you're watching this channel, you start to stack up a bit of money from these beat sales, sample pack sales, or even royalties. And we always hear that reinvesting your money into yourself is a good idea, and you can put your money into things that allow you to make even more money in the future, which 2 years ago we had no idea about, didn't even realize we could spend money to unlock more money. However, today we've put all this knowledge step by step so you know where to put your money to unlock new heights. We actually didn't even realize the amount of opportunities that we missed until we started investing our money into things, having certain tools and equipment, and making better music. With all these specific things, we basically removed the ceiling and the cap to growing, literally allowing us to have more potential, more opportunity for placements. There is a lot you can do, and we're going to finish on this point later in the video, but for now, we're going to get into the specifics. It's time to reinvest in your music producer career, time to bet on yourself. Let's get into the specifics.
So firstly, we're going to go over tools or subscriptions, how they benefit us, how we use them, and how much they cost, so you guys can get a good idea of how you could use them as well. Starting off with Dropbox, which is one of the best investments that we've probably ever invested into. We honestly regret not getting it earlier on. A few months ago, we were in Brazil, and we were hopping between studios, meeting different producers, artists. Lots of the producers kept telling us, they're saying, bro, you got to use Dropbox. It's an absolute necessity. I use it for everything. I send out my samples, my beats. I've got stuff stored on there. And we were just using the free 2 gig version at the time. We were like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. We got back, took their word for it. We bought 2 terabytes of Dropbox storage, and it has been one of the best decisions we've ever made. As we started to use it more and more, we started to realize that because we had the 2 terabytes of storage to be used, we noticed we were sending way more music out to more people. People prefer Dropbox over Google Drive links because Google Drive links are a little bit weird. Viruses can be in it, people can get scammed, so people much prefer Dropbox. So people were opening up our links more, our music was getting to far more people. Prior to investing into Dropbox, we had this cap to the output we had on sending our samples, sending our beats out. And as soon as we invested the $13 a month US into 2 terabytes of Dropbox storage, the ceiling just went off. One of the best ways we use Dropbox, which is some source for you guys, is Dropbox links in Instagram DMs. This removes the whole thing where you got to ask for someone's email and they've got to reply to you and you send them stuff, and you can just preview loops straight away. They can click on it without even having to reply to you. It can just get you connections a whole lot faster and easier. You can use it when you're sending emails to people instead of stacking like 10 samples or 10 beats into one little email. Put them into a folder, chuck the link in, done. So Dropbox, crazy investment, and it's super cheap as well. Secondly, we've got 2 which sort of go hand in hand here, which is Mail Track and Google Drive storage, or just extra email storage. I think it's called Mail Suite now. Basically allows you to send campaigns and have lists. So we use it to send our samples out. We've got lists of producers, quite niche lists of producers that we send our samples to, so we're not having to manually send to 100 different people, and it takes way less time when you've got this Mail Track, Mail Suite add-on. Now, the reason we say this goes hand in hand with Google Drive storage is when you're sending these samples out, it does clog up your email storage, so it is good to have. We've got 100 gigs of Google Drive storage. That way you don't always have to be deleting messages you sent or things in your inbox that you don't really want to be deleting. So Mail Suite, we pay around about 75 USD for a full year. When you think about it, it's pretty good. That's literally 1 or 2 beat sales. And then Google Drive storage is $3.50 a month. Even for people who make beats and are sending their beats out to artists, we literally use these 2 things every day. Thirdly, this is for you BeatStars sellers. We've got a BeatStars Pro page. If you've got your own separate website, that's completely fine as well. Just make it easier for people to buy your beats. If you're posting beats to YouTube or whatever and saying message on IG, the conversion rate's just a whole lot lower. It's been proven. So many people have said it. Me and Marcus have done this in the past. As soon as you've got a link in a professional website or something, it just removes a lot of the friction for potential buyers to buy your beats. BeatStars Pro page, your own website. 4 is ads. Majority of the time going to be for people selling sound products, sound kits, but you could also be using it if you're selling beats. We've never done it personally, but we know some sound companies and a couple of producers that we know really get into the ads, and some of them profit very well from putting money into ads and then getting customers in return. Number 5, Spotify Premium or Apple Music. Now, if you're a music producer and you don't have either of these, don't know what you're doing. You need to be listening to music all the time to be constantly inspired, and also especially for Spotify, there's almost like a networking tool. You can see the credits, you can see, you can just navigate through the music music industry pretty easily. You get all these playlists of artists that are up and coming. Honestly, a really great tool. $10 a month or something. Get that. And lastly, Shopify. This is our biggest subscription that we pay for. Just over 300 USD every year just to have our Shopify page up and running. If you're selling sound kits, if you've got drum kits, sample packs, whatever, and you're selling them, this is the best platform to sell on. If you're just getting started out with doing free sample packs or free sound kits or just small price ones, you've got PayHip, you've got Gumroad, you can even sell on BeatStars. But moving into long term, definitely want to be looking at Shopify. The next thing to be investing your money into is VSTs, both instrument and effect VSTs. Now, VSTs don't necessarily make your music better or make you more money, and we're not going to be sitting here listing out top 5 best VSTs to buy, but every now and again, maybe every 6 months or so, maybe less, we buy new effect or instrument VSTs just to add something into the mix, something that might inspire us, some new sounds, a new way of processing something, rather than just going hard out and buying 5 VSTs at once, then finding out you don't even use 4 of them. Slowly implement new VSTs in, and we find this really is just the best way to use VSTs. We'd say that effect VSTs have more power and influence than instruments because anybody can buy Omnisphere. They've got the exact same sounds. Whereas with some effect VSTs, for example, Effect Rack, one of our favorite effect plugins, you can do so much with the sound. Definitely invest your money into them, but don't go too crazy because the more VSTs you buy, the more VSTs you end up not using. And also you can get more creative with just using the same things over and over again, but finding new ways to make them sound different.
Next up, we have physical hardware. Now, we're going to keep this brief because it's obvious, like, when you think of investing, you think, oh, new headphones, new mic, this, that. But here's our essential list of hardware things that you can invest your money in. First thing is hard drives. I think it's happened about twice now where we've just about completely lost weeks or months of progress of samples, FLPs. We honestly don't wish it on our worst enemy to lose stuff, weeks and weeks of work. The worst thing ever. So we started investing in these hard drives. Samsung hard drives, they're like digital hard drives, so they don't have fans in them. They don't break, right? Apparently they can't break. Dropbox is still probably your best bet, right? Because you can't lose Dropbox. You can still lose these, but definitely good to have a backup. All your stuff, all your YouTube videos, samples, beats, projects, everything. A good rule of thumb is to have a physical copy and a copy on the cloud, at least 2 copies. Even just for the fact that a lot of people's computers will only have maybe a terabyte of storage. And after a couple years of producing, your computer does get packed up with stuff. So it's good to have these lying around so you can have more storage. Great investment. I think they were about 100 to 150 USD for a hard drive like this. Super good investment. Next is a good pair of headphones. The ones we use are the Audio-Technica M50Xs. They're quite a popular one, but having a good pair of headphones absolutely changes the game. It allows you to get cleaner mixes. A good set like that you're going to have for years and years. They're very sturdy. And even if you're at a point where you can't afford having studio monitors, having a good set of headphones will actually change the game. You don't want to be using some old crappy one like this because these like will hurt your ears even after a while. And another couple things, just having some sort of microphone so you can do your own vocals. You can even use it for recording content. Some sort of MIDI keyboard, which we use literally every day. And if you don't know how to use a MIDI keyboard and play keys, if you buy one, you're going to have to learn how to use it anyway, which is just going to improve your production. With a mic, you're also always ready to record an artist if you ever need to. And if you do some sort of content, whether it's Reels, YouTube videos, or even if you're just posting Instagram stories and you have your little studio set up, if you have some sort of lighting, it will absolutely change your content. That's basically what our YouTube videos look like before we invested in this, probably like a $30 light. It's just a simple ring light, but it absolutely increases the production quality. Game changer.
Next place to invest your money is your skills. Now, skills you can invest money into: learning an instrument, buying an instrument, getting lessons for it, being able to play an instrument and having one, guitar, a keyboard, a saxophone. If you can play one, you're going to be able to add value to somebody somewhere. It's never a bad idea to learn an instrument. And honestly, the better the instrument that you can play is, sometimes the better. If you're really good at playing a trumpet or a flute or something, you're going to be far more likely to get called in to help out on some sort of a project than if you just played the piano or guitar. Not to say that playing the piano or guitar aren't good. Both really good instruments to learn as well. Number 2, buying a production course. Now, this can be something for learning how to make beats from somebody who's just really good at making beats. Same with samples. And also, as a producer, this is something that we've sort of talked about a little bit recently: mixing and mastering. Learning how to mix and master and record people just sort of on the side at a good level, as well as being a producer, is an insane talent to have. You can just pull up to any studio, make a beat, record, mix, and master. And having that broadened skill set is going to make you a lot more of an asset to other producers and artists. Hiring vocalists, session musicians, especially if you don't know how to play a certain instrument, and just getting them around, or even just getting them to send over to your email vocal phrases, guitar melodies, all these sorts of things that will just make your sound so much better and unique from everybody else. We do this quite often. We get vocalists to send stuff over to us. We don't actually often pay, but also in saying that if we're not paying, we're probably going to be splitting some sort of royalties if something gets placed. Whereas when you pay for people, most of the time when you do that, you're paying for that vocal and you're usually able to keep the royalties in most cases. But think about getting some sort of vocalist or guitarist or any musician that can just add flavor to your music, just elevate everything a whole nother level that you could never do just by yourself. Knowledge. Now, majority of the time, the things that you don't know are literally what's keeping you from crossing the bridge and getting over to the next level of your music career. And saying that, paying for knowledge, getting people who are a few steps, a few levels ahead of you to basically give you their knowledge can be completely career changing. It can speed up a whole lot of your process, especially if you get the right person or mentor to help you out. And the thing is, people at all stages do this. There's always somebody who's further ahead than you. There's always somebody who's making more money, who's got more placements, more connections than you. Even people who are near the top are paying people above them for their knowledge and their advice. Knowledge is absolutely everything. What you've done to get here won't get you there. Mentorship calls. It may even be guys that don't advertise any sort of coaching or anything at all. So you just flick them a message and ask what their price would be for a 1 hour call or something like that. Knowledge is power. Definitely invest into this.
Here's a couple things that we could think of that you'll basically only do every once in a while, and only if they're applicable. The first thing is hiring a studio for a day, going in, taking a bunch of content, being around that space, experiencing it, and maybe bumping into people, making new connections. If you're near or in a city that has studios that you can book out, hire it out for an hour or two, we'd recommend it. The second thing is, if you're doing studio sessions, we always like to pull up to the studio with some snacks, a small investment, but something that we started doing when we were traveling a year and a half ago, and we've just kept doing it from then on.
Off to the supermarket.
Always go to the studio prepared with some snacks.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Creates a good first impression. You go in there, it's only maybe $10-20 you've spent, but small things like that really can make an impact on people, on the whole studio session. So those were some honorable mentions we didn't want to miss. While I was just editing the video, I realized that we didn't talk at all about traveling, which is an investment that we've spent a lot of money on in the past couple of years. Definitely paid off in so many ways. But it's perfect that we didn't mention it because we have an entire travel guide that we made while we were in Brazil, specific for music producers, our whole experience of it, how we planned, packed, decided where to go, budgeted, got into studio sessions and made connections. The video covers everything. So I'll put that video up in the corner and also in the description so you can watch it after this video. Anyway, let's get back to the video. We're nearly done. You don't have to go away from this video doing every single thing, no, but take maybe 1 or 2 things from each of these areas, implement them, you'll see that it will help you, and slowly as you progress, you make more money, continue to reinvest. But as we all know, even if you did all these things, you're not going to get anywhere if you're just sitting on your ass doing all. This is only one part of the whole process. You know, we're all about working hard and smart, just being a relentless music producer, focusing on your craft. So if you want to know the 5 things we do every single day to give you a bit of a game plan, you can check that video out next. We look forward to you guys implementing these things and seeing how you progress. Cheers for watching. We'll see you in the next one.